Welcome to episode 1 of season 3. We are Championship, the first proper progression that we've seen in the save. The side needs to improve. If we're to avoid relegation this season, we are going to improve it in a number of different areas. We're going to improve the squad in a number of different areas as well. We've got players that are going to go out. We've got players that are going to come in. We've got players that we don't know yet what to do with. I need your feedback on that, please. We'll get there in a moment. Whilst I say drop the video a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and you won't miss out on any of our debut season at this level. The 11 starting looks like this at present. George Thomas will continue at cam. Brophy will continue on the left in the short term. Both have 1 year remaining on their contract. Both will probably leave us at the end of this season. Zeno has peaked at 64. We are going to bring in Kelland Watts, who signed for Cambridge in real life. He will come in and start alongside Diabate. Zach Jules is getting sold. It was my intention to change him to a left back to be backup for George Nurse. He's peaked. It's going to take 2 years to train him to do anything. Let's move him on. Digby is going to get sold. Cousins stays. This is where I don't know what to do. Clarkson the youngster, Lee the youngster. When we called them up from the youth team, it gave them the important squad role, which is something we're now aware of. We weren't previously and will look to avoid moving forward. We didn't notice it in time. They have put in a transfer request. Even with the live editor, I can't remove that transfer request. So I believe they're going to leave us. I don't think really there's much I can do in that regard. If you would prefer, I would be happy to either release them or sell them full value and not maximise the amount of profit we make from them. Alternatively, I could continue to reject every bid we get in for them and manually change their morale. But I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's where you guys come in. What do I do with Clarkson and Lee? On paper, they look good enough to start. But Thomas and Brophy were excellent last season. We want to prioritise those guys with a year left on their contract and probably leaving at the end of this year. Don't know on that front. Don't know on that front. Grieve we're going to look to sell. Dodds is now back up to Brown. So if we don't lose or sell or release Clarkson, then he will be back up to Brophy. If we do let him go, I'll need a backup left mid or new left mid, although I have someone in mind. Centre mid, Cam for Lee as well is somewhere we would need to be improved. Cleary's come back from his loan spell and has significantly improved. He'll be back up to Yengi. So, players on my shortlist. You guys want to know transfers first, so I'm just going to ram through transfers. Ignore the players that are currently over 70 rated. They are unavailable at this moment in time because our highest rated player is 70 as per the rules of the save. Jordan and Marvey. English League experience, but will have just left Marseille in save, having been at Aston Villa in England. 70 rated, but perhaps not quite the player that we will be able to attract in our first season in the Championship. However, Jack McKenzie is a player I feel like we could. I don't actually know where Jack McKenzie used to play, and I would be very intrigued to find out. Jack McKenzie is a player that is at Aberdeen in Scotland in real life, has been released by Aberdeen, and he could very much be not just the backup left back that we're looking for George Nurse, but actually longer term a player that could come in and play in a number of different positions, actually being 6'3", left wing back, left back, centre back. Is he too good to turn down? His tackling stats aren't amazing in terms of slide, but stand, very, very solid. Defensive awareness, very high. That feels like a bit of a no-brainer to me. Left side of midfield, Ken Sema, released by Watford. Experience on a 1-year deal. I think that's a bit of a realistic no-brainer as well in our first year at this level. Right wing back, Lasse Sørensen. From the league below, 70 rated, an upgrade on Rafferty. That feels like a no-brainer too. So, Sema will come in. Sørensen will come in. McKenzie, I'm not sure yet. I'll wait for your feedback on the left-back role. In terms of central midfield, I'm looking to bring in James Balagizi, released by Liverpool. No real first-team experience in this save yet. That's a no-brainer. He too can play in a number of different positions. Kelland Watts we will buy from Newcastle because Cambridge have signed him in real life. Josh Benson is a backup centre mid we could go to if we aren't able to get Balajizi for whatever reason. And there was Sam Curtis I could potentially loan in at right back or centre back. But at present, leaning towards Lasse Sørensen, although Lasse Sørensen I'm definitely going to get. And now very much leaning towards Jack McKenzie instead as the backup full-back, probably on either side really with a 3-star weak foot and centre-back. He just looks too good. With regards to finances, however, we may be stifled slightly. With regard to the rules, we're now in the Championship, so my transfer budget will be 50% of the overall bank balance, not 30%, and we will be able to spend up to 15% over our current wage budget, not the previous 10%. The finances look like this. I currently have 31,000 available in my wage budget. I currently have 5.6 million available in my transfer budget. With Zach Jules about to be sold, with Digby about to be sold, with potentially, well, Rose is definitely going to get sold, with potentially Clarkson and Lee about to go out, and with Alex Grieve also being sold, both the wage budget and the transfer budget are going to grow. However, I'm also going to be spending a lot of money in this first episode, so what happens will remain to be seen. I'm going to go and sign those that I said were no-brainers, and more on the realistic terms in the shape of Ken Sema. Yes, in terms of playing FC, there are going to be countless players that are better. Bae Jun Ho is younger and similarly rated, and if it was just an FC save, then he'd be the one that I'd go for. But along the realistic terms, a player with experience at this level, when we're trying to avoid relegation, this is the more realistic 1-year starting contract signing that we're going to make. I'll also get Sørensen in. I'll also get Kelland Wells in. Kelland Watts. We'll also get James Balajizi in. We'll regroup, we'll see what the finances look like, and we'll take it from there. We've had a bid for Digby. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee the realism or a lower league English signing, but I think going to the MLS at 30 years of age is probably more realistic a sale than the back end of nowhere Romanian league or insert other Paraguayan side that might bid for him. So I'm actually going to accept this one from FC Cincinnati. Digby's a player we wanted to sell. Digby's a player that is going to get sold. Now, I have brought in Ken Sema on a free. We brought in Kelland Watts for £1 million. And we brought in James Balajizi on a free as well. However, we have spent quite a few pennies in the wage category. Obviously now Championship level and going to have to pay Championship level wages. I very much liked the suggestion in the comment section to give everybody a 5% wage bonus for getting promotion as well, by the way. So I have enacted that. Everyone that was at the club has had a 5% wage rise. Appreciate that very much indeed. Great suggestion. We'll probably do the same by 10 or 15% when we get to the Premier League, provided we can afford it in the wage budget, of course. Also, I hear you on the award ceremony episode. Just so happened that it fell on a Friday and you had to wait till Monday for the first episode of Season 3. Apologies for the wait for this first episode. But I hear you. We'll make that a double upload episode, provided I've got the time to make the content. And we will then, hopefully it won't fall on a bloody Friday still, and you'll be able to get the first episode of the next season a little bit earlier. Appreciate that feedback. Thank you. Always looking for ways to improve the way we put content out to you. You will have already noticed that Kelland Watts has come in from Newcastle. He was on 23 grand a week at Newcastle. He's taken a significant wage cut to £16,500 to come in and be the future of our backline alongside Czech Diabate. Big wages for a big player, but that's what you have to pay at this level, really. We've gotten James Balajizi in on £4,500. That's a great wage for a player on a 3-year deal that he's definitely going to grow, having left Liverpool. That's really, really, really good. And Ken Sema comes in on £7,000 a week just for a year, released by Watford, and will be a go-to in the midfield for us this season. Meaning at present, whilst I have 4.6 million left in my transfer budget, I've only got 3 grand left in my wage budget. Up to £17,600 potentially by stretching the budget. But I don't really at this stage want to stretch it that far yet. Digby's going to go, hopefully. That's £2,500 there to go into the wage budget. Once we move on a couple of others, like Alex Grieve, who's on £3,000, then we should be able to bring in Lasse Sørensen and be able to comfortably afford his wages too. For full clarity, Lasse Sørensen at present is on £4,900 a week at Lincoln. He'd want a pay rise, I'm sure, but with the right outgoings, we will be able to afford the next incoming. Paul Digby is gone. FC Cincinnati bound. That's some extra money to the wage budget, some extra money to the transfer budget, 75% of which will go into the transfer budget. That will not change throughout the save. Every season, regardless of league, we will have 75% of player sale finances going into the budget for us for further sales. Digby is leaving. An A-rated excellent deal. I agree. We'll take it. Thank you very much. There was another couple of bids here as well. Sarpsborg. This is the sort of thing where, again, I don't know as I'm going to get realistic bids for some of the players. We might just have to accept what we can, but I'll maybe lean towards doing that slightly later in the window, just in case we do get some realistic bids. Had Amiens come in for Alex Grieve, who we are looking to sell, who's peaked at 65, but not sure Amiens is the one either. Ascoli, might be another case of not really being able to get a realistic bid, but he did go to Wrexham last year, so there is the potential that we could get a realistic bid for Bourne. So we will keep that on the back burner for now and push forward. Right, pre-season tournament. Now we could look to maximise some money here, but to get the prize money, you need to win the tournament. And I don't fancy us in that one. I fancy us a bit more in that one. Fancy us a bit less, actually, in that one with Barnsley and Wigan in there. So I might go for this one, the European Shield. See if we can maybe boost ourselves by £1 million. I do have just over £5,000 in the wage budget now. So we should be able, hopefully, to go and sign Lasse Sørensen now from Lincoln. They want about 1.8 million. Well, we definitely can afford the transfer fee. It's just a case of whether we can afford his expectations wage-wise. I think we can. We'll offer 1.7. They want Luke Berry. He was our player of the season last year. I'm not... Yes, Balagizi's come in, but I'm not wanting to lose that experience, that championship upwards level experience from Luke Berry. Thank you very much. 1.75, will you accept? They will. Lincoln will accept £1.75 million for Lasse Sørensen. He's on £4,900 a week. I currently have £5,600 in my budget. So provided he will sign for less than £5,600, then Lasse Sørensen will be a Cambridge United player. He's on 4.9. I'll just offer him a straight 5. Will they accept £5,000? They will. Lasse Sørensen will join. Signing number 4 arrives at Cambridge United. Blackpool would like to loan Bourne. Yes. That is very realistic. To go to the league below, that's what we were waiting for. Proposed loan without buy option. Yes. Just a 1 year, please. Yes. I'm quite happy to pay 40% of his wages. 60-40 deal. Let's see if that goes through. That is just what we were waiting for, and that's why we haven't accepted absolutely anything. Almeria have bid for Clarkson. Now, I am in a position where I still don't know what to do in this regard. Because he's forced onto the transfer list, other bids will come in. So, I'm going to reject bids for now. And we'll get as far as the... maybe like a realistic bid if possible. We'll get as far as, and we'll play the first game of the championship season against Millwall. And then I'll wait for your feedback before recording any further with regards to those young players. Norwich. Now, Norwich are at the same level as us right now. And they've offered me 66 rated Brad Hills plus £195,000 for Czech Diabate. Now, I would be inclined, actually, at this moment in time, to potentially reject that. Especially considering they're trying to offer me a player that I just absolutely would not want. So, Norwich City are in our division. They currently have 73 rated Shane Duffy, 69 rated Ben Gibson, 65 rated Tomkinson, 66, 66, 66. So he'd go in as their arguably starting centre-back. But that is not a financially agreeable deal for us. I'm going to hold off on Greaves continually. He's only 26. I don't think he'd go to the MLS yet. Diabate, I'm going to reject that. Chat, talk to me. Do I counter with money or do I reject? If he had the choice of starting for Norwich or starting for Cambridge, he'd want to go, wouldn't he? I will look to negotiate this. We've been discussing with live chat. We're going to look to negotiate this. We feel like he would want to go, but at the same time, I'm not going to let him go for cheap. He is my starting centre-back with good potential. One of the best players we had at the club last year. I will ask for 3. If they'll come anywhere above 2.5, I will. No, 2.1, and I don't want Sam McCallum. So, if they'll pay 2.5, they can have him. Anything above 2.5, and he's gone. 2.7, that's nearly twice valuation. Norwich seem to be the ones that come in and poach our players at the minute. A bigger club in the local region, he would start for them, which is probably the kicker. If he was going to be a squad player for Norwich, I would have rejected. But the fact that he would be a starter for them means that I think we have to accept that bid. Nashville have come in for Grief. Still going to reject MLS bids for the time being there. Jordan Cousins we want to stay for the remainder of this season. And it looks like Diabate is on his way out. Diabate is gone. Diabate leaves. Now what this does is actually present an opportunity. An opportunity that to sign a player we thought we might well be signing anyway, but not for that position. You'll remember free agent Jack, who left Aberdeen and could play at left wing back, left back and centre back at 6'3". I'm feeling an opportunity to sign someone that is actually higher rated than Czech Diabate. Bear with me. Remember Jack McKenzie, left-footed, strong pace, decent jumping, although he is 6'3", stand tackle of 72. I think Jack McKenzie in at centre-back might be an absolute shout here. We're already aware of him. I will have a look through the free agents, but I think Jack McKenzie is probably going to be someone that I make a jump with. We've had a look through the free agents, and I prefer the idea for realism of a 31-year-old, very experienced Stephen Kingsley, who left Hearts in Scotland to come in and put 75 free kick accuracy, by the way. He's good. He's good everywhere. He's not very quick, but technically he's sensational. Stephen Kingsley stands out as an experienced player that could certainly do a job. The question is, what do I have available in my wage budget? Currently, only £3,530. And it reckons he would want between 5 and 8. So he's my target. But at present, actually, I need to take... Have I taken him out already? I've taken him out already. I've taken him out already. So I need to raise some... I could stretch my budget. With anticipated sales elsewhere in the squad, I am going to make the decision to go over wage budget at present with a view of getting back under wage budget with further sales. We're taking a financial risk here in the Championship. He will be important. If he wants crucial, he can have it because he's going to start alongside Kelland Watts. Our central backline is changing. Comes in on a 1-year deal. No release clause. Not going to give me an idea of what he wants wage-wise. I'll try and get him as low as possible. We'll offer him 5.5. We'll see if he'll negotiate from there. He'll take 5.5. That's great. Stephen Kingsley is in. 70 rated. Significantly higher rated than the majority of the rest of the defence. Great experience for a 1-year survival campaign in the Championship. Right then, you join me on match day 1 of the brand new Championship season. We are at home against Millwall. Not an easy opponent, but certainly not one of the best in the division either. You'd go as far as to say potentially a winnable game for us here at the Championship level. Nisbet and Fleming up top are 73 rated on average, so a better front line than what we've got. Midfield is 70, Mayer, Denor, Saville and Honeyman. Not that much better than ours, and the back line is 69 rated. Adam Malaki, Hutchinson, Cooper and McNamara with Truman in goal. Not that much better than what we've got either, is it? We have new signings in at centre-back, a new centre-back partnership of Stephen Kingsley and Kelland Watts. The entire back line, other than Kingsley, now 68 rated. In the forward areas, we're still unchanged from the year before. At present, Balajizi is on the bench. At present, Ken Sema is on the bench. Yengi starts up top. Brophy and Thomas maintain their starting spots from their great season in League One last year. But obviously, especially in Brophy's case, we have players to come in to replace if we need to. Here we go. Match day 1. Operation Avoid Relegation begins now. It's Denor. Shakes off Brophy. And Nisbet. Looking out wide to Mayer. You'll notice we've made a change to the nets and to the pitch. We now have black and yellow, or black and amber, ideally. Hashed net. Kellen Watts with a lovely interception. And the box is diagonal lines compared to... Lovely move from Berry. Compared to previous where we were just all the horizontal lines. Brown trying to get in behind Adam Malaki. He's going to be the weak link in their back line. Rafferty is still rock solid at right back. Lasse Sørensen doesn't start yet, but mainly because we know that Rafferty is really, really good. They're going to take a free kick here. Might have been them playing the advantage there, I'm not sure. Floating it in with Fleming, and Brophy wins the header. 10 minutes in, Millwall are on the front foot and looking the more dangerous, but nothing for the goalkeeper to do yet. Nisbet to Saville. Saville looking for the run of Fleming. Fleming out-muscled by Kingsley. Kingsley, as we say, not the fastest, but certainly technically gifted enough to deal with anything that the Championship in these early stages can throw at us, I think. Mayer. Rafferty was rock solid at right back. That's why last season, that's why he starts ahead of Lasse Sørensen. It's my fault for trying a risky pass. We do have more signings we might look to make this season. But obviously the wage budget is the restrictive factor right now. Here's Nisbet. And Denor to Nisbet. Again, outside the boot. Saved by Stevens. Wipes out his defender in the process. And keeps the ball out of the back of the net. McNamara. Cut back to Saville. And a nervy start for Cambridge here in the Championship. It's still all Millwall. George Honeyman around the corner, and Fleming with the shot, saved by the legs of Jack Stevens. A man that we've given the nod in goal for this season to begin with. But we may well have to look elsewhere if he doesn't cut the mustard. George Honeyman, back to Denor. Denor with the effort, Kellen Watts in the way. And well up, George Thomas. It's still all Millwall, however, so far in this fixture. We've not really had the chance to get forward at all. In that header, well up, Kellen Watts. Thomas will flick that around the corner to Brophy. Brophy will look for Thomas, who has Berry on the run. Berry looking for Yengi. Yengi, Brown ran offside. Rafferty will push forward here and they look to whip a ball in. Kicks it straight against the defender. We will take the free kick. We will let Brown take it, despite the fact that Stephen Kingsley has better free kick accuracy. Rather, the taller man was in the box, potentially to be on the end of it. It's actually going to be Brophy. It's the defender, I think, that got to that. And I don't think that will quite count as our first shot on target yet. Oh, unbelievable footwork from Marcus Brown. He's going to find Yengi in the box here. Yengi needs support, however. A little flick from Thomas doesn't quite come off. Racing away. That's a decent delivery. And Fleming with the header. From 18 yards, you always fancy the goalkeeper in that situation, but this has been... Well, it's been a game that has shown that Millwall were Championship last year and we snuck into an automatic promotion spot last year from the league below. At present, match facts wise, 4 shots and 66% possession to them, to our none and 34. But advantage goes in our favour and will continue, and Brown will look for the run of Rafferty, and it's an excellent run from Rafferty. He's brought it down nicely. We'll look to fool the defender, which he's done well. Whip the ball into the middle. Win this, please. Well up, Rafferty. Berry. Kirk Henderson. And George Thomas. Oh, can't quite do the business. But promising start to the second half here. Whatever team talk my in-game Gary Monk gave certainly worked. Although, Millwall still just as feisty as they were before the break. All through to Denor. And forward to Fleming. He's looking to turn. Turns well. Here's Saville now. And Denor again. Millwall consolidating in their possession, taking their time, playing some killer balls, but our defence stands firm. Double change for me. Thomas off, Berry off. Balagizi and Sema both on for debuts. Sema on the right-hand side of midfield. Balagizi a straight swap for Luke Berry. We've moved Marcus Brown central now, so that Sema can come on out wide, but he's on the right, actually not for James Brophy. George Thomas had a decent enough game, but of the front four, he was the one that was the obvious to take off, and Sema the obvious to bring on in his place as Millwall have another shot at goal. And Fleming. Oh, taking one for the team there. Kingsley, oh no! Sent off on debut! I don't think that's a straight red, do you? Oh, to be fair, he did catch him on the side of the shin. If we have a look at that in closer detail, actually, it might not be because he was the last man. It might be because he was the last man, although there are defenders around that could maybe come across to cover. I think it might be because of where he catches the man. He steps in here and he catches it. Oh, ow, actually, he breaks his own bloody leg by the looks of things. But it looks from that replay that he caught him on the leg. Actually, studs don't catch him on the shin. He's just wiped the man out by bending his knee in a manner in which I'm sure would leave him in the hospital for quite a while. I don't think that's a straight red. I think the referee's done me there. I don't feel that that is a straight red card challenge. Henderson will drop. Balagizi is going to have to deal with this. And actually, I'm now going to take Marcus Brown off for Jordan Cousins in the midfield and do this. Or do I bring Zeno on in midfield? No, we'll drop Henderson. He can play at centre-back. So I want to see actually if he can do that role. So let's see if Kirk Henderson can do the job at centre-back. But we will be weakened now offensively. Defensively, we've got the numbers, but I now don't have a cam. Nesbitt's free kick into the wall. Denor with a potential follow-up effort into Kirk Henderson. It's still Millwall, though. Denor again. Jordan Cousins steps in, and that is why Jordan Cousins got a one-year contract extension. Fleming. Saville. And Fleming again. Balagizi motoring around in the midfield. Not really had the chance to do anything yet. Here's Denor, space out wide right. Denor going to take it on himself. Beats Rafferty. Still going down the right-hand side. Opportunity to get the ball into the middle here, perhaps from Malaki. Back to Watmore. Duncan Watmore off the bench here for Millwall. Denor's had a couple of efforts today. Not on this occasion. Saville forcing them backwards. This is great defensive shape from Cambridge United. This is the sort of defensive solidarity we're going to have to show all season long if we want to stay in this division. See, backs against the wall with only the 10 men as well, and Millwall are going to press. Maybe we could catch them on some sort of counter if they continue to press very hard to look for a winner. But on the opening day, we're not going to take too many risks, especially with 10 men. Ken Sema looking to get away. He's overrun it, though. And that's not great. Can Cousins get to that? Yes. Did he use a hand? The referee says so. Honeyman down the line. George Nurse trying to kick on to keep up with him. It's the one area where we're still probably unsure what to do. I might look to loan a left-back in the remaining time in the window. But whether we've got the finances to do so, I'm not sure. Trying to get rid of this. Cannot get it out. And wide with the final effort in the 85th minute. But they've hit the bar now. And Millwall going to make a mistake back here and let us in for a potential winner. Maybe so. Kusini Yengi steals it off his man. He's going to race away here. I'm going to need the support. Brophy is with me. Is this the moment that we steal 3 points on our championship debut? Yengi looking for James Balagizi off the bench. It's a great block by the Millwall backline. We had the opportunity to make a star of the young man on debut. Unfortunately not able to do so. But will there still yet be a goal in this game? No. A very hard-fought, potentially fortuitous, opening point on opening day for Cambridge United. in our first game in the Championship. The boos for the referee, I'm sure, for the straight red card given. But we get a point from our first match at this level. We'll take it. Thank you very much. Now, please, feedback. What do I do with the youngsters? What do we do with Lee and Clarkson? Do I just let them go? Do I release them? Do I sell them? Do I release them? Do we keep them and just disregard the morale? What do we do in this position? Because as far as I'm aware, there's no way that they'll come off the submitted transfer request scenario. So I'll wait for your feedback in that regard. We're still looking to sell Zach Jules and Grieve. Dodds is going to be our backup winger for the time being, or one of our backup wingers for the time being, with Ken Semmer as well. Obviously, Kingsley's now out for a game, unfortunately. So that's a scenario we find ourselves in at present. Got 4 emails here. We'll just cover quickly, but that's not too much of an issue. So I also am needing a backup left back. Whether that's a permanent or a loan remains to be seen, but my wage budget is currently nearly £2,000 over budget. We have players we want to sell, players that are on decent wages. Alex Grieve alone would send us back into the green by over £1,000. And then if we can get Zach Jules out, then we could be £3,500 over budget, or under budget, sorry, and then very much be able to afford another another left back to loan in or sign. But for the time being, that's the scenario. That's where we are. In the league, we are safe as it stands. 9th so far in the Championship season. Offer me 9th at the end of the year and I'll absolutely bloody take it. That's all for episode 1 of season 3. Thank you very much for your support so far on this brand new season. Hopefully you guys are enjoying our debut in the Championship. Hopefully you guys are happy with the signings we've made. I've tried to keep things more realistic than get players that definitely improve the squad and are really young and are going to grow in a usual FIFA career mode style way. If I was on FM, I'd have signed someone like Stephen Kingsley to add some solidarity to the centre-back line. So absolutely, I'm happy with the signings we've made for sure. Obviously, the YouTube comment section is the YouTube comment section mainly. Left back, what do I do with a rotation in that scenario? And what do I do with Clarkson and Lee? They're basically the only areas that I have to deal with at present. So maybe Lee and Clarkson go to free up the wages to help bolster the squad elsewhere, and we loan in a Cam as well. We'll wait and see what you guys say. That's all for today, though. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for episode 2.